It is indeed my pleasure and a great honor indeed to address this second iteration of the National Construction Summit. I did attend the very first one, and I'm really pleased to be here again. We gather at a time when we are really seeing an uptick in the infrastructure build of our country, but we also gather here to talk about an industry that has been geared to build a nation. We also gather here to share a dream and a determination to build a country that works for all its people. A country where everyone should have water, sanitation, and electricity. And thank you very much, Deputy Minister Mahlobo, for also being a partner of this whole process. We are also here so that we can talk about the roads, the rail lines that we intend to build as we turn our country into a true construction site, roads and rail that will take our people to work, that will also deliver our goods to markets. We are here also so that we can build a country where there are enough classrooms for all the children of our country, enough wards in hospitals and clinics for all the patients who go to these facilities, but also enough accommodation for our students, where no child has to swim across a river to get to school. Is what we are here about, to build bridges so that our children can cross rivers to go to school in a safe manner. And we are also here so that you can all get involved in building the schools that will make our children feel safe as they go to their schools and as they have appropriate sanitation in their schools. That is why we are here. We are here to build legacies of the future so that those who will come after us should see that we were here and we did build a South Africa that they can live in. They can walk through the streets of a country that we will have built, that the sites that we are building now, that all of you who are gathered here are building and constructing, will be durable and will be seen generations hereafter. That is why I'm here to applaud you for your dedication, for your commitment, for the work that you are all doing to build South Africa and to make our country into the constructive site that we spoke about during the State of the Nation. From a social development perspective, infrastructure that you are all about provides people with what they need to live and to thrive. It improves the quality of life and plays a key role in reducing inequality. Through reliable infrastructure, we are able to boost the productivity of our people, and we are able also to reduce the cost of living. Through infrastructure, we provide a country that will grow and develop, Infrastructure facilitates trade and commerce. When we boost infrastructure through the construction industry, we also attract investment. Investors want to see beautiful infrastructure, beautiful buildings, durable infrastructure. That is what attracts them. It attracts them like bees that are attracted to a beautiful flower. That is what you are all about, and this is what you are meant to do. The roads that we build, the bridges we construct, the schools and the hospitals we erect are the foundations of opportunity. They are the foundations of hope. Hope is now abroad in our country as the infrastructure built is gearing up to a higher level, as the construction industry is beginning to show its true mettle. Infrastructure is the engine that drives economic growth and social transformation. We know how inadequate infrastructure can hold a country back. And that is what we've been through in the past few years. We are now getting into gear. Our infrastructure and construction build is moving to a higher gear, as the minister said. We have seen how decades of apartheid special planning left vast swaths of our country without any economic and meaningful capacity. We saw how the denial of basic services to the black majority in our country robbed many generations of both opportunity and dignity. More recently, we've seen how the lack of investment in our roads, in our rail, and ports have hampered the growth of industries such as mining, agriculture, and manufacturing, and has also hampered the basic services that need to be delivered to our people. We have seen how lack of municipal maintenance has left communities without water or electricity and has driven businesses to relocate. For as maintenance becomes weak, and where there is no real maintenance, investors will leave. Businesses will relocate. But we've also seen how infrastructure can transform our built environment and transform and develop our societies. The massive investment in electricity, water, sanitation, and housing provision that followed the advent of democracy fundamentally changed the lives of millions of South Africans. The construction industry has a multiplier effect that spans manufacturing, mining, transport, and services. For as the construction industry moves into top gear, so does our manufacturing industry also move up. Infrastructure is the backbone of development because, amongst many other reasons, it bolsters economic competitiveness and sustainability. Without infrastructure, without the construction industry, economic growth slows down, inequality deepens, and the quality of life declines. The construction industry supports the Sustainable Development Goals by enabling resilient infrastructure and sustainable urban and rural development. We are beginning to witness the recovery of our construction industry. Infrastructure is poised to once again become the flywheel of our economy. As the minister was saying, just a recent employment survey indicators are showing that the construction industry is now becoming the greatest and the biggest creator of jobs. You should applaud yourself for this fantastic development. Infrastructure investment is one of the most effective levers of stimulating economic growth. This is evident, yes, in the statistics that we have just seen earlier this week. The quarterly labor force survey indicates a decrease in official unemployment rate from 33.2% in the second quarter of this year to 31.9% in the third quarter. And long may this carry on. Construction, as I said and as the minister said, was the biggest contributor. And this gives us hope. This gives us the ability to look forward to greater growth in this industry. The construction industry is indeed the flywheel of the growth that we want to see in our economy. And as it was the biggest contributor with 130 new jobs, it basically means that we can look forward to the construction industry going further up the ladder. These statistics reflect an upswing in the industry. Earlier this year at the Sustainable Infrastructure Development Symposium, we showcased over 250 fully funded projects valued at more than 250 billion rand. Now, these investments in water, in energy, in transport, and the digital infrastructure are transforming communities, creating jobs, and laying the groundwork for a more inclusive and prosperous South Africa. That momentum needs to be sustained. That is why government has committed 1 trillion rand in infrastructure spending over the medium term. This is the very first time our country, since the dawn of democracy, even before democracy, has committed such a large amount of money to infrastructure. Now, this is money that is out there for you to utilize, for you to use as enablers to turbocharge your industry to grow to higher levels. As the Minister of Finance indicated, in the medium-term budget policy statement yesterday, we are shifting the composition of spending from consumption to investment. Capital payments are the fastest growing expenditure item on our national budget. They are expected to increase to about 7.5% over the medium term. And alongside the increase in public infrastructure spending, we are taking measures to enable far greater private investment in infrastructure. And these include the amendments to the regulations to the public-private partnerships and the new guidelines on unsolicited bids. Unsolicited bids meaning that when the people in the private sector have ideas on how we can improve our infrastructure build, they should come forward They should be enabled to come forward and present their ideas. And if their ideas are innovative enough, and if they are financially sustainable, we will then be able to sign them on and say, go ahead and construct the idea that you've put forward. So this is a game changer that all of you gathered here should capitalize on. Our country has now moved to a level where we are very serious about infrastructure. We're very serious about enabling the construction industry to do what they do best, to construct big and impactful facilities and structures, and to do it with the confidence that we have the money, 1 trillion rand, we have the systems in place, and we have the enabling environment. And we will continue to create that enabling environment so that your industry can thrive. The purpose of this summit is to ensure that the investments that we are talking about and the reforms that we have now embarked upon, particularly in the network industries, do indeed turn the country into a massive building site. We want to see cranes and construction vehicles in cities, in townships, in villages, and in rural areas. Many years ago, when I visited China, and as I was being driven through the streets of China, I just saw cranes and cranes and cranes, and I came back and said, this is a country that is going somewhere. And indeed, through that vision of the cranes that one saw, China has been transformed. Many parts of China have been transformed. We want to see a similar display of cranes and yellow equipment scattered right throughout our country. And you are the people, the companies, and the entities that can enable that. So the future construction build of our nation is in your hands. When visitors travel by road or rail or air, they must see a country that is at work. They must see that we are a country that is determined to go to a higher destination. We will not let anyone derail these efforts. We will not negotiate with construction mafias. We will not yield to the cable thieves or those who vandalize infrastructure. And we should really say, we have declared war on the construction mafias, and they will not stop us. I am very pleased and encouraged about the progress that we are making. That yes, our communities are making, our police service is making, and you yourselves as actors in this built environment are making to deal with those who want to hold us back in the form of construction mafias or cable thieves or vandalizers. In fact, what we should tell them more clearly is that they don't belong anywhere else, they belong behind bars. Because if they continue to do that, they shall be arrested and be sent behind bars. The law enforcement agencies, yes, will continue to deal with those who break the law. As part of its contribution to accelerated infrastructure development, the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure recently announced the South African Construction Action Plan, which the Minister spoke about. It is a framework for collective and individual accountability, a plan that sets measurable targets, real timelines, as well as enforceable consequences. The plan outlines actions to prevent underperforming contractors from securing new contracts from the state. It aims to fix cash flow constraints and use technology to track construction projects in real time. We want to deal with the underperformance of contractors who leave projects incomplete. And I want to say, when you are a contractor, we want you to dedicate yourself to completing the projects so that we can be proud of you as a contractor, and we can be proud that you have completed the work that you were meant to do. Every public works department will establish a procurement war room to identify blockages, speed up evaluations, and ensure that projects move from bid to site without unnecessary delay. The plan includes actions to strengthen audit and governance outcomes and to professionalize the built environment in the public sector. In essence, this plan will ensure that projects are started and completed on time, within budget, and with no wastage and no cost overruns. In just over a week from now, we will be hosting the very first G20 Leaders Summit on African soil. But it has not only been the Leaders Summit that will be taking place in Johannesburg. It has been the entirety of the G20. We've had almost 130 meetings that have been held throughout the country in all our 9 provinces. And we should be proud as South Africans that we have, over this whole period, been able to host many people who've come from all over the world to our country, to our provinces, to our towns, and to our cities. And we have hosted them without any incident. That is one thing we should be proud of. And we commend the work of the G20 Disaster Reduction Working Group, because the work of the G20 has been divided into various working groups. And this working group has been at work, and through their work, we have placed on the global agenda the need to ensure that infrastructure is built to withstand extreme weather events, and that countries have the resources needed to rebuild in the wake of natural disasters. We're the first country that has addressed this issue of disaster recovery. We all know that many parts of our country are now prone to disaster damage. And what we've put on the global agenda, which is being broadly embraced and accepted, is that we should not only focus on constructing infrastructure, facilities, we should also focus on what happens when there is damage and how we rebuild and how we get resources to rebuild and recover. In doing so, we have placed infrastructure at the center of economic progress and human development on the global map. We look forward to the outcomes of this National Construction Summit, and I'm confident that your summit will place infrastructure development on a new trajectory You've got a wonderful tailwind, a tailwind that is now blowing your sector, the construction sector, to move forward with greater determination and with greater speed. And that tailwind is the plans that we've put in place, is the money that we are putting behind infrastructure build and construction, and it is the reforms that we have put together that we've been working on for quite a number of years that are now going to be enablers. And we are confident that your summit will turn plans into projects. And we are confident that it will accelerate the progress towards a South Africa that works for all. So you are at a very important juncture as an industry and as a sector. I do firmly believe that your sector is now poised for greater growth, for greater progress, and we have put in place a number of enablers. But we also have a ministry and a department and the leadership that is up to the job. Minister McPherson, Deputy Minister Zikalala, and all the other ministries and departments that work together. We are all determined that infrastructure should be the main area of activity in taking our country forward. And I'm really pleased to be talking to all of you gathered here, because you are the real actors. In other words, you are the real deal. If we ever wanted a real deal, you are the people who are going to build our country to go forward. So I encourage you, get into this. Our country is poised. Whether they like it or not, we are now poised for great growth. I repeat, we have the money, we have the leadership, we have the opportunity. Just go and construct South Africa. Thank you very much.